To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is The Experience, and you're on Talking Shop. This is our fun show that we have where we talk to creators about things that are either have come out just very recently or are out this week or very, very soon. We try to get you all the information that we can so that you can add things to your pull boxes or to your wish lists in this case, as we get super close to the holidays. And it's super important for you to tell your local comic shop what you have in mind that you would like. It helps them make their orders and assures that they'll have enough copies for you, because they do make a lot of just educated guesses based on how much stuff is there out there, how many do I normally sell, and how many do I think I'm going to sell on top of all of that. So they make that guess, and then if they don't hear from you that you want something, they might not have quite enough on the rack. And you don't want that. You want to definitely get the copies of things that you have ordered, which makes everyone happy. And especially the publishers, the creators, and your store, as it turns out. And for yourself as well. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. Weirdly, we're going to talk about not comics necessarily for this first little segment here. We've got Joseph Smolky coming on and maybe another special guest.
He's trying to get in.
That's all right. It's like a surprise guest thing. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, he says he's using the newest link, but it won't attach him for whatever reason. So
very interesting. Here, where's my... I totally put my phone down, which would fix the stuff.
Anyway, so I guess we'll just have to move on.
We're gonna move on, and then I'll send him one because I can get it for him. So what is so cool about what you've been doing is that not only are you doing creation for comic books and making really awesome things like Murder Hobo and Cherry Blackbird stuff, like all of the really cool things that are on the backboard here, but you've started making things like if people want to do more than read, they want to have like a physical object to, put on their mantle or by their desk, computer. So then you've got something to remind you of what you love in another way. What inspired you to do this? I know that Tracker had already existed, or I thought it already existed before.
So what happened was when I started working with Peter Gorel, who his moniker is Killer Bootlegs, and he has a very successful toy reputation. He's a bootleg toy artist. He made a big splash at San Diego in 2012 with the release of Phantom Starkiller, and then his toys basically sell out in minutes most of the time when he posts them. So he's like one of the top guys in that industry. And after me and him had become friends and were working together on I was doing card art for some of his action figures and stuff. And then he got picked up by Super 7 and they made a reaction figure of Phantom Starkiller for him. And actually, the last play set is that thing right back there.
Oh, it looks so cool.
So yeah, as we started developing Phantom Starkiller together as a comic book character and everything, it just led into us having more conversations about other properties that Scout and Black Caravan have access to, and Tracker was created. And it's a way for us to, like, we're a separate company, but we work almost directly with Tracker, with Scout and Black Caravan creators to bring their stuff to physical reality, right? So we made a Stabby Bunny plush. I don't have one of those on hand, but I know that you can buy those directly from the Scout store. So if you're a fan of Stabby Bunny, there's a Stabby Bunny you can buy. It's a decent sized stuffed animal. And then we made Murder Hobo miniatures, which are gaming minis that you can plug into any tabletop gaming system. And it comes with a collectible card and custom box art and everything. It's pretty cool. And then right now we have a Kickstarter going for our 375 line. And the first two figures that we had were Julius Black and Phantom Starkiller. I actually have the prototype of Julius Black here in my hand. He's got 5 points of articulation. And again, this is a prototype. This isn't the final model or anything, but his head moves around and his arms move. He's a retro figure. He comes with the black ledger that he'll be holding in his hand and stuff like that. So we have him, and then we have Phantom Starkiller. For the Kickstarter, to make it exclusive for a reason why people should head over there and back it, is it's the only opportunity you'll have to get the glow-in-the-dark Phantom Starkiller and the glow-in-the-dark Julius Black. Now, that's not to say we won't somewhere in the future make a glow-in-the-dark version, but not this way, not these versions. These are going to be exclusive to the Kickstarter. So really, if you're buying one thing within the campaign, those are the two exclusives. But we've just unlocked Gut Ghost from Enzo Garza as well. So that one's really cool. It comes with like a little piece of gut that you can attach to him, and he can hold pizza or a stick. And then he comes with a baseball hat that he can wear. He's got a lot of like doodads that come with him. And then the final figure that we're attempting to unlock is Lillian from White Ash, Charlie Stickney and Colin's creation. Mm-hmm. So we're very close. We're about 4,000 some odd away from unlocking her. And once she unlocks, the next thing we're going to probably do is some premium packaging for everybody involved with the Kickstarter, which means that like everybody that gets even one of the direct editions is getting something unique that won't be reproduced again outside of the Kickstarter campaign. That was a lot. I just kind of like diarrheaed all this stuff out.
So I have a couple questions. I know what the pizza is for Gut Ghost, but I don't remember the stick. What was the stick for?
When we work with the creators on the I'm not going to lie to you. I've only read a couple of Gut Ghost things, so I don't know what it's for either. But it's a really popular book. Enzo's been creating it for like over a decade. It's a beloved indie comic. So when we were asking him, he did the turnaround for that figure, and then we send it to an artist who does a more rendered version of that makes it toy ready. But we asked him what he wanted with it, and that was one of the things. And I've seen the stick in a couple of his pinups before, so I think it's a thing. I don't know. Maybe somebody will educate us in the comments what the stick's all about. But
remember what the stick is for? It's gonna make me nuts. So when you did you already know how to make 3D renderings that you?
So that's Peter. Peter's the genius there, right? Now we hire a different team that does these 3D renders. Peter facilitates everything else. Like, he's quality control guy. He makes sure that everything looks good and is to the standards that we're looking for, which is basically, if you look at most retro action figures that are out today, like Hasbro does the Star Wars retro line, and then Super 7's Reaction line and stuff like that. They're not going to be as quality looking as these. These are just way better sculpts, way better put together products. So that's what we're banking on, is not only are we playing around with the Scout and Black Caravan stuff, but we're also making our toys look better.
Yeah. So the first two Trekker figures I remember were like the Phantom Starkiller like bust size, which was little.
Yeah. So we had these marbles. Yeah, I've got a couple of these things.
And I love it because it's kind of marbled looking, and people always message me and say, "Are the marblings all the same in them?"
No. So that's the thing, because how it works is they put the, when they put in the vinyl or whatever, it does whatever it's going to do. So literally all these, the Black Caravan exclusives, are one of a kinds.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a couple out there floating around that people like to exchange for certain things, but
they like a color pattern better.
I think people bought multiples of these and they trade them. There's like a pretty ravenous, just like in the comic community, how people go on eBay and flip things and stuff. In the toy community, it seems to be more trading.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they do have monetary value at some point. I think Scout HQ might have a handful of these left. I'm not 100%, but I know they have a couple of these guys left. And this is the Count Draco soft vinyls that were made for Tracker.
And I love the way you guys packaged them, because those specific ones, because it came in like little.
They're in like a cloth bag, right?
Yeah. They were
Yeah,
so
that was like our first, that was a year ago, right? When we put those out. And that was to just be like, hey, we're going to be starting this new company. And now the new company is up and running. And this Kickstarter is really where we're going to ramp up. We also have a five Playmates version of Phantom Starkiller coming out. But this is my favorite because it's one of my characters. And it's this is the prototype for it. Now, we found the sculptor who does... he did all the villains for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Pete had been working with him, and so we had him design us a Roddy the Rotten figure. I know this is all blown out on your camera here. Cool. It's hard to tell what he looks like because it's all white, but he articulates. Actually, this is a prototype, so like I can pull parts of him off and everything.
Oh, that makes sense.
But and then he comes with this ginormous backpack as well that has all these cool little attachments and stuff on it. So we'll have this out sometime next year, and Phantom Starkiller as well.
So what is Roddy going to come with? Does he have like a beer bottle or?
Oh yeah, he's got like an axe. He's got a bunch of beer. He's got a monkey paw, I think.
What?
He's just got like a bunch of stuff. So Jason went crazy with it. And again, it's hard for me to show you how cool he looks here
because he's all in white.
He's all in white. And it's just a prototype. But the Phantom Starkiller is in production, I believe, right now. Ooh. And same sculptor did that. Of course, I don't have the model to show you for that. But that one will be out early next year, the Starkiller one. There he is.
Oh, hey. Finally here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on. My browser was not letting me access it or something. I don't even know.
I forgot to tell you, the cut and paste is always the way to go if it gives you something.
So I finally am here. Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
That's okay. I blathered really quick a bunch of stuff, but you can go into greater detail on a lot of this.
Great. Any questions you got? I'm here, and I'm open to tell you whatever I can.
Okay, so were you the original creator of the Phantom Starkiller and the entire line? And was it really just born out of your love of multiple cool things from the 70s and 80s, and you wanted to make a version that fit all of it?
Yep, exactly. That was it. I just wanted to kind of make my own thing that was like an amalgamation of all the things that I grew up loving, kind of like in the George Lucas vein of creating characters, but I didn't grow up watching spaghetti westerns and Buck Rogers and listening to serials on the radio. I grew up watching Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Star Wars, obviously, and I just wanted to kind of create something that spoke to me the way that those spoke to him. and do like an homage to everything that was inspirational to me as a child. And it started as an action figure in 2013. I got the I had been making toys and designing, little knickknack toys out of resin and stuff, just these little collectible things, and got the opportunity to make an exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con, and that's where I debuted the character. And that was in 2013, and that got a lot of attention on the floor. It sold out on preview night, and just was like a real unique thing, back before there was so many people kind of doing the designer toy thing. And it got the attention of Brian Flynn, who was the CEO and owner of Super 7, and it struck up a friendship, a decade-long friendship. And in those last 10 years, I was just making all these other things, different figures and different vinyl toys and resin figures and just T-shirts and all this other stuff, Phantom Starkiller themed. I just didn't let the character kind of die. And the opportunity came up to make the mass-produced versions, which was like these with Super 7. And they pretty much just let me artistic direct the whole project from start to finish. And just left me to kind of my own devices, because I'd kind of been making toys for so many years. They just would be like, well, do whatever you want. Like, so when it came to how we looked and how the sculpt looked and how the different colorways we did and which artists I would work with to do the packaging, they kind of just gave me free reign. And they just did very, very well. And when that linked me up with Joe, because Joe was seeing some of the stuff that I was putting out, and just, he's a big toy fan, and he collected some of the Starkiller figures. And me and him were friends prior to that, but it gave us an opportunity to kind of work together on like a professional level. And I had Joe do a couple of the packaging designs for some of the figures, and we would just work very well together. And then I came out to, I think, Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con. We met in 2018. And he gave me a bunch of books, and we just became friends, and when he got the opportunity through Black Caravan, through Scout, to do Black Caravan and start his own imprint, we started kind of talking about the idea of doing a comic. And it just kind of came out of that. Me and Joe just work really well together, and he was like, you have all these ideas from the back of the packaging, like, is there more to this? Is there more of a story that you want to tell? And we kind of together, he take some of these ideas that are like a decade old and just flesh them out together. And it's been a real blast, working with Joe and doing the comics, and now the opportunity to do more toys through Tracker.
Oh yeah. So what was the hardest part of that process, the taking something that had always been just a figure with, a kind of synopsis on the back of the packaging and finding a full backstory for them was the hardest part?
Just being able to tie that, stay true to that original kind of source material that I had, and being able to tie that in and make it work. And we've been doing that through the flashbacks that happen in the middle of each book. There's like a couple 2 or 3 page flashback that kind of tells the character's origin story, essentially. And that's that back of that synopsis that I wrote, back in 2013, 2014. And being able to tie that in, I guess, is kind of hard, just to make it all work. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
It's a pretty organic experience. Like, Peter has an idea. He's like, this is what we're going to do. And he's really good at creating these moments, right? He's like, I know I want this to happen. So we're like, all right, we know we got to get there. So where's this story? So it, honestly, the scripts seem pretty simple. It takes us a couple of months to write a full script that we're happy with, right? Because we're always upping the ante. If you read Count Draco Knuckle Duster, the sequel to Phantom Starkiller, the stakes keep getting higher with each book, and we want to keep people interested in like wanting to learn more about these characters. And I think early on, we knew that Starkiller was like the showpiece of this, right? And so there had to be like decisions made early on where Starkiller was initially just supposed to be a villain and a badass, but you have to flush out things like that. And we made him into more of a Han Solo type character, you know, where he's an anti-hero, he's roguish, and he is a monster and a killer and stuff like that. But we're trying to make people love him at the same time, and that's a hard sell, you know. So
yeah, it's important. It's always important for characters, especially for me, especially the bad guys. Like, you have to have something that makes them.
You want to root for them, right? And how do you make people root for the bad guy? I mean, looking cool is easy, right?
Sure. Cool.
I'll always buy like the Cobras or anybody that's like a resident of Snake Mountain or something like that for Motu. But yeah, sometimes their stories kind of suck, and we just didn't want to do that. We wanted to make people like not only love the figure that's already out there and love what Pete's been doing with it, but create this new universe that he's been working on. And yeah.
So I heard that there was a play set that already sold out. Is that true?
That's that thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that has a couple, right?
Yeah, Scout has some, and I have some as well. Just that I haven't released mine yet, but Scout has some in there at Scout HQ. There's, I think, a handful of them that I secured and got down there for them. But yeah, there was a play set that was that came out last October. It was kind of like a year in the making, which a lot of these toy projects do take about a year to flesh out, you know, from concept to the final product. And that was kind of like the grand finale with Super 7. You know, I still have a great relationship with them, and, you know, any opportunity that in the future that comes up for us to work together again, I'm all for it, and so are they. But what I wanted to do was to follow the continuity that I was creating with the comic book and create more toys that had to do with what the events that are going on in the comic book. And, you know, it just felt more of a natural progression for me in my career to kind of start doing this on my own and making the things that I want to make. You know, they don't necessarily have the bandwidth to do everything that I always wanted to do, considering they have so many other properties that they work with. And I'm just kind of like the only one that was like, you know, like an independent guy who just is like a dude, not Masters of the Universe or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or, you know, Toxic Avenger. I mean, you name it, they have it and they've done it, you know, which is amazing. And for me to be able to have my stuff within there is like a dream come true, you know, to have when you go to a Super 7 store and on the racks, there's Ninja Turtles and, you know, like I said, Masters of the Universe and Power Rangers and G.I. Joes now. And I mean, you name it. And then there's Phantom Starkiller and Count Draco Knuckle Duster as well, which is, like I said, it's amazing and a dream come true, honestly. And it was more of a natural progression for me to kind of start doing some more of these things on my own. And now that I have the know-how and kind of the experience to take projects to mass production and have done it for all these years with them and kind of under the tutelage of Josh and Brian, letting them kind of just let me run free and supporting the projects. You know, I feel like that I'm kind of ready to start taking those next steps of doing it on my own. But the playset was amazing, and it is amazing. I've got one right off camera to me, but it was a great opportunity for me to kind of bring the comic books into the toys for one time, because that was never really something that I did too much with Super 7, because the comic was kind of a new thing, and for it to kind of work in tandem is very hard. You know, like I said, a lot of projects, you start working on them at concept, it's like a year out. So, but anytime that we're doing something, or me and Joe are doing something, you know, to fit it in a schedule with Super 7 or to make it a reality a lot of the times was just not going to happen, you know, or to do things collaboratively, you know, it just wouldn't work right, because there wasn't just the bandwidth to start for me to kind of cherry, you know, drop in these projects that they have other things going on, obviously. Yeah. So for me to do it myself is now kind of the idea. But the grand finale was bringing Starkiller ship into a playset and having, you know, like something from the comic book. And there was a lot of quotes from the comic book on it, and panels from the comic and stuff kind of that were recreated in photos. And all the panels. I kind of did like a layout with all the panels from the comic on the background, and it's real faint, but it's just really cool. And it was just a awesome experience to be able to do something like that, and for it to sell out in like 15 minutes is even more crazy, you know?
Yeah, I got on like early, and I had my wife get on at the same time because you can only get one per customer, so I got two.
Cheater.
So, what is the next character that comes out from that universe? I think
Vice Admiral Acker. Yeah,
So
and actually, it's kind of a beloved thing for me because this is the first thing that I ever worked on with Peter years ago. I had done a couple of pinups, just putting them out there. You know, I was doing like a Project 365. I put out a Count Draco Knuckle Duster and a Phantom Starkiller, and Pete was like, "Oh, these are pretty cool." And then, you know, we started talking. He figured out I really do love toys and stuff like that. And then he approached me with doing card art for Vice Admiral Acker. It's only been produced once. Am I right?
Yeah.
Really?
I made the edition of them. And yeah, that was one time. I think I made like 30 of them. And then I've done a few like one-offs in between there. And there's a Keshi figure, like a Muscle Man figure that's supposed to be coming out soon. That's done. But yeah, he hasn't been as explored as kind of Starkiller or as established as Starkiller or Knuckle Duster have. Those guys have been around, like I said, since 2013 was when Starkiller came out, and 2014 was when Knuckle Duster came out. I've always, in my personal Killer Bootlegs work, have always went back to these guys and done something every year with them, you know, a handful of times in between some of the stuff I was doing for a long time, which was like Star Wars parody stuff, or like characters, you know, like I do Hunter S. Thompson or Alfred Hitchcock or Animal Chin or, you know, Kenny Powers. And I was doing figures like that a lot. And Admiral Acker was just one that I wanted to continue that universe. And yeah, he's like tied into the story, his backstory tied in with Starkiller and Knuckle Duster. And he's in both of the books. So his first appearance is in Phantom Starkiller. He's in like the shadows of the flashback scene, and then in Knuckle Duster, he shows up. He's in the flashback scene, and then he's also shows up at the very end. And the story's gonna
got a more prominent role there because he is attached to the big bad, but he's not the big bad. He's sort of like he's the good soldier. You know, General Vice Admiral in charge of this fleet of nasties that are coming after Starkiller and Acel, who is
he's the Piet.
So I think I have a figure over here.
Oh, there you go. There's Vice Admiral.
Yeah, I can't remember when I did that. Was that like 2017, maybe something like that?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember too. You did him, and then it was Absolute Ruler Thuban, who is the big bad guy. He's the emperor basically of and his first appearance I think is in Knuckle Duster, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll always unveil some new characters. Like in Knuckle Duster, we had the Blood Riders, which was a group of characters that Pete had come up with just for that particular part of the book. And then in Starkiller, he came up with Kane, who was like Starkiller's partner before he got transformed. So yeah, just like it's a really cool universe and cast of characters that are pretty wild. Like all of them should be toys, in my opinion. So
yeah, like I mean, a lot of the stuff I do it with the intention of making toys, because that's where what's near and dear to my heart. You know, that's what I do, and I will you know, collect, and it's just natural for me to design things with the toy in mind already. Kind of like, this would make a cool toy, you know. Yeah, the next part of the story is going to pick up with Vice Admiral Acker, or through his eyes, and the story carries out, you know, the same story that started in Phantom Starkiller is going to carry out through his eyes.
Yep.
So is this the end? Is this like a trilogy?
Nope. There's 4 books altogether. The last one will be Absolute Ruler Thuban. Okay. So
Right.
I don't know if that's coming out next year. I think you might have to wait till 2023 to see that one, because it really comes down to whatever our bandwidth is. Pete, makes toys, and then I make all these other books, and it's whenever we can find the time to get together to really hammer the book out. And the cool experience about this is I do the drawing and everything like that. I do all the inking, but Pete actually colors the entire interiors of the book. So it has a really nice, cool retro feel that he wanted for the market.
It just kind of gives me more of an opportunity to, make things the way that I would want them. Like when me and Joe are working together, I'll concept out all these guys and send them a bunch of references and stuff. It's a real cool, fun process that we do together. And I go about that kind of how I make toys too. It's like I'll send him just little bits of information and poses on how I want things or how something in my mind is. And that's the kind of the way I write it too. And I write everything real descriptively so that when I have it in my head how I want it to be, I try and translate as much information to Joe as I can through writing like real descriptively in long prose, and then also sending like a bunch of references, and then it's just a great experience and a real fun process. And
so he'll send me like, it'll be like paragraph, and then I send back like a couple pages. Like this is what this is.
Right.
This is what we're whittling it down to, man.
Right.
Yeah, his prose is crazy. I mean, if you could easily write a novel, but doing comic books is show don't tell, right? So it's a completely different process.
Rule number one, it's hard to do.
Yeah, which is awesome, and it's taught me a lot working with a guy like Joe who's done it so many times, and he's just so well versed in the comic world. And getting back to the toys with Tracker, it's just been a great process for us to kind of
pull out your Starkiller that we have going on. You've got the prototype, right?
Yeah.
Show that guy off. So this is the new sculpt for Phantom Starkiller. As you can see, it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
So again, 5 points of articulation, and he'll be fully colored, right? But you can get the glow-in-the-dark version of him through the Tracker campaign that's running right now. The campaign ends on the 1st of the year for tax reasons. I don't want to hear from anybody that like, oh, I could never get the glow in the dark. It's sold out or something. I'm like, you had every opportunity. You have a whole month to get both of these figures.
Share with them what they look up. So if they're going to go to Kickstarter, how do they go find this specific one so they don't miss it?
Oh, right. So it's Tracker Collectibles is the name of the Kickstarter, but the particular tier, I think it's just the glow in the dark tier, right? Those would be the ones that they'll never be able to get again. I mean, and again, we might be doing something with the packaging altogether once we hit our final goal, just to make it a more premium experience for everybody involved with the Kickstarter. So real collectors, they're going to buy two, but there has to be a reason for them to go to the direct market later too. And that's the other thing. Once this Kickstarter campaign is done, those people are getting their toys first.
Right.
The direct market gets it sometime later. We don't know when it is. So, and we're making a real point about that. We've got variant editions of Phantom Starkiller #1, Electric Black #1, and Gut Ghost #1 unlocked now. There are metal covers available for those, for people that love metal covers. They're never going to be printed again. This is your only chance to get these variants. And we're going to keep those print runs as small as we humanly can, because we want people to know the numbers of what that print run is. You know what I mean? For the real collectors out there. Because I know that that's been an issue in the past for people, is they want to really know that what they're getting is part of the real edition that you're saying that it is. These will be very limited. So,
JD, let me know if Sergio comes up, because I don't see him popped up. So I'm going to keep on talking to my friends. So,
who do you got coming on?
There's no. Well, I mean, we supposedly have another interview, but we might. Sometimes we have a communication issue for what the actual time zone is. So
I like all the comic books you have behind you. They look like they're done by this awesome
amazing.
creative.
I can't fit all of y'all's books anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
I just picked my favorites.
Yeah, I really like the cover for the web store #5 of Cherry Blackbird. I thought that. What did you think of the end, without spoiling it?
I saved it for myself. I'm gonna read it. I don't know, sometime soon, but I saved it for myself. I read all of the other ones, so I'm up to. I read all the way through. I'm worried. Gotcha. I'm so worried.
I just want to hear people's. I want to hear people's reaction to the end. That's all.
It's like those things. If she like perishes or something really bad, like in my mind, the way it ends up is that she double deals the devil and takes over hell. That's always the way I envision things.
But yeah, next year, a tie-in book will be coming out for it called The Infernal Pact. So you'll get a little bit more of some of the characters from that storyline coming out again next. I was gonna not put it out, but Rich convinced me to just go ahead and do it. The artwork on it is pretty rough because it's some of my earlier stuff, and I did the entire book with Scratchboard. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's got a chunky, gritty feel to it, which is cool. But I did it all in sequence, right? So page 1 was the first page I did. Page like 134 or whatever is the last page I did, and I got really good by the last page. But there's some stuff in the middle there where you're like, it's pretty rough. But I don't have the time to redo this. But it's still a good story in my opinion.
So why did you use Scratchboard? Did you just like have a piece laying around and you're like, I wonder if this would work? I
read Mouse, and there was this portion of Mouse where Spiegelman had done just 2 or 3 pages on Scratchboard, and I'm like, that's so awesome. And at the time I was obsessed with Goya's black paintings, you know, the ones that he did at the end of his life that were painted on the walls of his house. And I just wanted to have, I was like, I wanted something really dark. So what's the darkest thing you can start with is just like an all black sheet, and then scraping the image into it. You get kind of you get a different feel. And like the biggest complaints I hear about it is that people are like, I bought this because I thought it was your work. You didn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. It's done on Scratchboard though. You know?
Well, I mean, it's just like if you look at Picasso's work, there's some of Picasso's work that is his earlier stuff is nothing like his later stuff. So there's like, that can't be the same guy. Totally same dude.
Yeah, I was just, you know, when you're a young creator and you're trying out stuff, and like at the end of the day, you know, I'm always trying new types of art, and that was something that I just decided I was going to do. I'll never do it again, because the final result was not exactly what I wanted it to be. But I tried it that one time, and I think everybody will enjoy it. The story is good.
So that's a good question. I'm just thinking in my mind. Have you ever done your figures in something that was less usual, like not plastics or resins?
I've done latex masks. Ooh. So there's like a Phantom Starkiller latex mask that I've done, and yeah, so that's like a mini mask. Here's one of the blank ones that I've, you know, like that's what it looks like before I paint it up. Yeah, so I mean, I've done a bunch of different mediums too, you know, or soft vinyl, which is just a different type of toy. You know, this is like inspired by what they do in China and Japan, different styles of toys. Instead of it being, you know, injection molded or hand cast in resin and hand painted. So yeah, I've done a bunch of different things too.
Perfect. All right. It looks like our next guest has come on, and I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day. And I'm going to share around the link and I'm going to actually go in and do my buy now that I was dumb and didn't figure out that there is an actual, you know, thing for retailers. I just didn't scan down far enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's called the Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen. Okay.
And at 60,000, the Dirtier Dozen unlocks, and that will have 3 of White Ash and 3 Gut Ghost as well. Okay. So it'll be more of a true assortment.
help us get to the Dirtier Dozen, everybody, and click on the link and go and support this Kickstarter. We're as retail stores, we're totally chill with it because we know that's how the cool stuff gets made. So do support the Kickstarters. It's how creators know whether if what they're headed toward is what you guys want. So it's like a little test market. All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys, and I will.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Welcome back to Talkin' Shop, where we're talking to people that have got things that are coming out soon or are available now, so you can make sure to get them into your pull boxes or on your wish list. Up next, we've got Sergio Rios.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Jen.
Hello, Sergio. I'm so sorry. Usually, I don't know, there's been an update to the way that the studio works, and usually I see our guest faces pop up in our little block in the bottom, and so I just thought there wasn't someone there ready yet, so I was drawing the other one long, so I owe you extra time.
No, Jen, it's not a problem. I'm very happy to be with you, with your audience, and here is my first time, and I feel very excited about it.
I went through and looked at a lot of the things that you've been creating, and it looks like you like horror. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about horror. I love horror movies. I love horror comics, horror books, and all that kind of stuff. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of horror movies since the first It to Silence of the Lambs to the classic Universal Studios Monsters. So don't know. It's like something natural in me.
Well, so it makes sense what happened in Rockabilly Monsters then, because you have a lot of the Universal monsters that appear there.
Yeah, these are I think that kind of monsters are part of the pop culture these days, and many people identifies with them. And now in this right time, because of the inclusion, because of all the I think the monsters represent some outcast people that feel that doesn't part of something, people that doesn't know exactly where they fit in, and I think the monsters is the perfect example of that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. So this book is coming out through Second Sight Press. How did you guys get together?
Well, first, I'm very thankfully with Marcus and Bradley. They gave me the opportunity to release the book, and I didn't know exactly. I hear about Second Sight Publishing. I was looking for a house where diverse creators could find his boys, our boys,
Yeah.
and I sent many pitches, and I sent one pitch to Second Sight Productions, and Marcus was very kind with me, and he told me that he loved the project, and they wanted to start right now. So it was a very close time since I sent the pitch to Wednesday when number one is gonna be outside. It's gonna be released, and I'm very happy about it.
That is so exciting that it happened so quickly. Did you, is this issue, is it in print as a self-published piece, or is this the first time it will see print?
Yeah. Uh, uh, Numbers 1 to 5 are available only in digital,
Oh, okay.
in English and Spanish, and we're trying to find a way to print it here in Mexico, but no, there's no luck right now. We are not been so lucky, and the second side edition, it's gonna be our first printed book. Yep, this version,
Oh,
English version.
wow. Okay,
And
so
German. Oh, tell me, John.
that's awesome. Cryptorama, is that your imprint?
Yeah, it's my imprint I created just to release my books that way, independent books, and I want to uh, invite some other creators from around the world to release um, different kind of books, mostly horror books, and not exactly the same kind of books, but uh, we want to tell that kind of bizarre stories, monsters and creators. I love it. No?
Okay, so I looked up some of the other names of things, and Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah, in fact, Ginger Dead Man was my first published work in the United States. I worked with Full Moon Productions and Action Lab Entertainment, and it was a crazy, crazy, crazy title. I love to work with it. I did two miniseries. In fact, it's only two miniseries of comics: Ginger Dead Man and Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. And I hope to return to them in the near future. It's very fun to draw that, and it's exactly what I love. But I didn't look for it. Did came to me? Right time, right place.
Action Lab were
Destiny.
good people. Those are fun guys.
Yeah, yeah, I love him. I love Charles Vance. I love all the movies. That horror movies, B series. It's they are very cool.
Rob Owen says that you're awesome.
Thank you. Thanks so
Specifically, our
much.
art.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Okay, describe to me. I also came up and looked at double jumpers. What in the world is double jumpers? I could not discern from just the images.
Okay, Double Jumpers was a mini series of comic published by Action Lab Entertainment. The writer is Dave Duong. He's a very, very talented writer. He came to me when I was finishing the Ginger Dead Man, and he told me if I was available about after it, and he needed a penciler for the series, and I came in, and it was very cool to draw, and I like to work with him. It's one of the most talented and underrated writers in the medium right now.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys need to, out there that are watching, go hunt down his stuff so that you can appreciate some really amazing writing. All right, you're like the triple threat, right? Because you're not just a penciler, you're not just an artist, you're a writer, you do all of it. So what do you think is your strength? What is your strongest thing that you can do?
Oh, good question. I love to do everything, but I think my strong part is it's the stories. I love to create stories, characters, and give them life. And it's fun when I'm talking with a couple friends and says, what if we make some things that doesn't have anything to do together,
Sure.
and and something very cool came after that. It's like we call them the Ninja Turtles facts. It's like you combine two random things that
Sure.
doesn't have
That
to
don't make
do.
sense together, but then
that,
they're perfect.
exactly. That's exactly when Rockabilly Monsters came. And we were doing some stickers, and I was thinking with some ideas. And as I told you before, I love monsters, and I say, well, monsters, there's so many stickers about monsters. There's nothing special. It's just to draw the same and the same, just in a different style and a different. Okay, but give us pin, yeah. And I'm a big fan of rockabilly too. And I
Oh yeah.
say, Okay, rockabilly monster. Okay, that sounds very cool. And I start to draw, no, and design these kind of characters. And that's my favorite part of the creative process. You know, to start to play with some different ideas and bring something very new, like in the past was Ninja Turtles. So, I'm a big fan of Ninja Turtles too, and it's that's two things that doesn't have nothing to do together, but the end is
But
very
now they
cool.
do.
Yeah, they do, and many people liked, and many people love, and I'm very happy with it, and it's my favorite part of the creative process, And draw pages is so very cool. It's I love it.
Okay, so for Rockabilly Monsters, if you were gonna tell someone a really short description of what the book series is going to be about to get them enticed to wanting to add it to their pull box, what's the best description that you like to give?
Well, Rockabilly Monsters is about a girl. Her name is Candy, and he lives in a town that called Bellevue. And in that town, many adults are being kidnapped, have disappeared, and their grandparents are missing. Are between the missing people, and she start to looking for them. So she find this Frankenstein monsters creator called Rocco, that are fighting some ugly creators, ugly monsters, and she doesn't care about him, and they start to working together to find the missing people, and the other monsters came one to one, and they form a group of diverse monsters. In normal occasions, these kind of monsters, vampires, werewolves, creature of the Black Lagoon, that kind of monsters doesn't work together because they are like broken factions.
Yep.
So they start to working together to stop a big cosmic horror cosmic treat.
Oh,
That kind of Lovecraftian
mhm.
monster
Yeah.
that is gonna end all of the realities. And I try to find a way to be connected everything. That's the plot.
I love it. How many issues is the series? Is it an ongoing series, a short run series?
Jen. I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't believe in ongoing series. After some time, the idea doesn't work anymore. It's you can. You need to reboot, and I'm a big fan of miniseries, just to finish them and start something new. Then, so Rockabilly Monsters is gonna be a miniseries, 9 numbers, but
Okay.
the issues is 16 pages. The printed issues is gonna have 24 issues. So it's 1.5 chapter.
Okay.
And it's and in second side, we're gonna publish 5 to 6 issues. Issue one, as I told you before, releases at Wednesday, and issue two, it's gonna be out at January, and then February, March, April, and
So monthly. Okay. That's perfect. So
thank you so much.
we have a lot to look forward to. So do you have another series that you're working on at the same time, or that you have planned out for afterward?
Yeah, here in Mexico, I work in a comic that also is created by me. It calls Jose Luis, Enemy of the Supernatural. It's about the Mexican myths, Mexican monsters and legends. You know, we have a lot of stories here that pass generation to generation, from grandparents to sons and children and everything.
What are some
And
of them? What are some of them that Americans might not have ever heard of? What are some cool ones?
I'm so sure that in the United States you have heard about the La Llorona or the
Yes,
Chupacabras.
those. Yes, definitely those two.
Yeah, but we have many more. We have can I tell you about La Tlanchana? La Tlanchana is a lady that appears in the lakes, and she presents herself as a very pretty woman, very beautiful woman. So the men that are in the lake goes to her, but she is a marine witch.
Oh
She's
no, that's not good.
a water witch, and she hates the men. You know, that's another.
Scary.
Yeah. And we have many more. You know, a lot of things. We have the pole. The pole, it's decapitated witch. Only the head is floating around. Eh, yeah, and she appears in the towns, in the rural, in the many towns, you know, to make some noises and scare people. So that's just a couple of them.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I love them.
Oh, cool. So those only exist in Mexico and probably only in Spanish then.
Yeah, Jose Luis. At the time,
Mhm.
only in Spanish. Maybe in the near future, we want to do the crossover. But Rockabilly Monsters is gonna be in English,
Mhm.
Spanish, Germany, and we're gonna release in Spain too.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's amazing because there's not a lot of comic books that get released in a whole bunch of languages. That's like a big thing.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of comics too. You know, I can see that many pencilers or many writers doesn't in fact, you know, I like to see different kind of stories. That's you know, manga, European comics, American comics. So as a reader, I know many comic seals, independent seals, and professional seals. So I start to write to them. You know, take a look, and I know, and I write to them, and many answered me, and a couple of them say yes, we want it, we like it, why
I like
not?
that.
And that's what very cool, you know.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks so
So
much.
we've got a link to your Facebook and your Comixology so people can look up your other digital work. Is there any other place that people should follow you?
You know, I have an Instagram account,
Mhm.
arroba, how do
Mhm.
you say, arroba Sergio Rios Art, and you can see most of my work on the app Graffiti Comics.
Okay.
That is where our digital books is are right now. You can read Rockabilly Monsters, you can read a couple issues of Hustleys, and you can read another comic that I created as Rockers, and and we're gonna start to release more comics very soon.
Perfect. I'm excited. All right, so everybody, make sure you add Rockabilly Monsters to your pull list. Call your local comic shop so that you make sure to get it on Wednesday so you don't miss it. Thank you so much, Sergio, for joining us. I appreciate you so much and you giving up your time for us. Everyone, stay tuned to the experience. We have more stuff coming up next.
Thanks so much, and nice to see you. And I'm happy to be here. And whenever you want to invite me, I'm gonna be happy to return.
We'll see you again.
Bye.